This is Work That Out Podcast, episode number 4. Thank you so much for joining us today. My goal with these conversations is to explore different types of people and their successes as well as their failures in navigating and mapping out their lives so that you too may have more insight in what it takes to build the life that you envision for yourself. I believe if you take action each day, the life that you want can be closer than you think. Welcome to Work That Out, guys, your guide to connecting authentically, living with purpose, and having no regrets. This is a show that gives you real stories and real examples of people working it out and creating the life that they want. Today, we discuss with the guest how she stepped out on faith and created her own business, how she's intentional in creating the life that she always envisioned herself to live, her near-death experience. I hope you enjoy the episode. My guest today is an architect who resides in Lafayette, Louisiana. She is a graduate of Louisiana State University from the College of Art and Design. In 2008, she launched her own independent business. She is a member of the American Institute of Architects and the National Louisiana and Acadian Home Builders Association. NMF Architecture specializes in high-end residences, residential additions and renovations, and commercial and medical office buildings. Her work has been featured on MyNewOrleans.com in 2016 for her large outdoor kitchen and living addition to a home in Broussard, Louisiana. Her designs and work have been featured in the Lafayette, Louisiana Parade of Homes. She has also received local design awards for several of her custom homes and office buildings. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready for Natalie Fraychineaud. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to kind of get cozy here. We're going to start off with every now and then, we're going to have a beer. So Nat is from Louisiana. She's got her beer. So today I'm starting off with a Four Peaks White Ale. This is a Belgian wheat, and I'm sort of a lighter beer, not like a Bud Light or a Miller Lite, but I don't like the hops. So today I am gonna drink a white ale from Four Peaks Brewery here in Tempe, Arizona. Nat, what are you drinking?
I am gonna have it is a kind of a dark beer from one of our breweries, Abita Brewing Company in Louisiana, Abita Springs, Louisiana.
Nice.
Macchiato milk stout, because it's got a coffee flavor, and I'm a coffee drinker, coffee lover.
Nice. Mix the two of them together. All right.
Yes.
So, cheers, Nat.
Cheers.
All right. So today I want to talk about, what makes Natalie thrive? What gets you excited? What are the components that have created the life that you live today? So let's start off very easy with, you live in Lafayette, Louisiana. What is it that you love so much about living in Louisiana?
Oh, I love everything about living here. The people, the food, which can't be beat. I've lived elsewhere before, and those are the two reasons I came back: people and food.
Right.
Lafayette's just a great combination of both of those. It's a great kind of mid-sized town, I guess. Great place to live.
Right. And as a matter of fact, I think, some of our listeners know that I am also from Louisiana, and I miss the people. I miss you guys, but I really miss that crawfish.
Yes,
And
exactly.
I really love boiled crawfish. So if I could have anything flown out to Arizona, it would be crawfish. As a matter of fact, if I were on death row, now I don't plan on going to jail or anything, but if I were ever on death row and they were like, hey, Trey, what's your last meal? My last meal would be king cake and boiled crawfish. What would your last meal be?
Well, I've always said the same thing, and I don't even need the king cake. I just need the crawfish.
Just need the crawfish.
They can just deliver me a huge platter of that, and I'm good to go.
Nice. I love it. All right. So, Nat, today I want to talk about some aspects of your business. And so where I want to start is, I remember when I was in high school, and I didn't have the know-it-all to know that I needed to apply for more scholarships. I got one scholarship when I graduated from high school, and it was because my sister was president of the club, probably. And so I just didn't know the things that I know today. And so knowing, like for instance, I wish I would have known how much I wanted to work, what type of lifestyle I wanted to live based on my job. How did you cultivate those decisions at such a young age? Like, what was your interest? What sparked your interest in architecture? And did you look at it as designing the life that you absolutely wanted to live?
I did. I was actually very lucky. I think luckier than a lot of people to have known what I wanted to do since I was in the eighth grade. Um, we had a great, really great art and architecture program in St. Charles Parish school system. And that was called Education Through Historic Preservation. A local art teacher there and a Tulane University architecture professor co-founded that program, and actually happened to be at all the schools I went to, which was great. Middle school, middle, junior high, and high school. So I had that same art program all those years since I was about a fifth grader. So that program focused on a plantation house or some other historic building every year, and we studied the project, the whole year. Did field trips, the whole thing. So that's what really got me started into it.
We know exactly that that's how your interest was sparked into it. But what made it, like, was there ever a consideration, like, were you willing to just do architecture or something, similar in that field just because you loved it? Or did you tie into architecture will provide me a good living? It will provide me the money that I want to make. Like, did you have the foresight to know I want to make money? I want to make good money so that I can live the life? Or was it something that you would absolutely do for free today?
I would probably do it for free today. But I think all those things kind of tie in together. I mean, I did find that I loved it. I mean, when we studied those houses and those buildings, we had to sit there and draw parts of them. And after a few years went by and I was doing that, I mean, I just really loved everything about it. And it just the way every detail that we learned about. We learned about the history of the owners of the buildings, the architects of the buildings, the builders, and all those things. And so that part was there. Um, did I want to make a lot of money? Never really. That didn't really matter to me. But I think what I just really wanted, the only really goal I had, was that I am going to make a good living and will be able to make it on my own. You
Mm-hmm.
know, my parents were proponents of going to college. I mean, things were starting to kind of change around then. I mean, a lot of people got divorced and things like that. My dad had three daughters, and he was like, "Y'all need to be able to support yourselves." And that
Mm-hmm.
was really my main goal, was just to be able to do it. To be able to do something I love every day and do that
Right.
is just a huge benefit.
Right. So after you graduated, I'm sure you went to work for, a firm. Tell me a little bit about your journey after college. How did you get your first job, and what was the catalyst that basically motivated you to start your own business?
Well, I left Louisiana when I graduated college and went to Florida. I was just always a beach person, so moved to Florida, got a job there starting out as an intern. You have to do a 3-year internship before you can ever take a test to get licensed. And so I got a job there. Florida also had a Florida and California, I think, are two of the states that have some of the stricter um, rules and laws in architecture. So it's a good place to get licensed. You get licensed there, you're pretty good everywhere, So I had those things going for me. So I did that. I did my internship over there for turned out 4 years. I started taking the test and took a year to get all that finished up. It was a 9-part test. Not fun. um, so um, Now, then about that time, I get licensed and kind of miss home, miss family, miss friends, miss my crawfish. so,
Right, right, right.
so I had family and friends over here in the Lafayette area. So I kind of knew I liked it. So ended up back over here,
Mhm.
and I got a great job with an architect who was well known here for doing huge custom residences. And that's really what I always kind of wanted to do. And that comes straight from studying those big plantation houses and things like that. And that was really my number one thing I wanted to do. So I got lucky again there. And then I got unlucky in 2008 when we had that economic crisis. I was actually laid off because I had been there about 8 years, and we just weren't getting any new work in the entire year of 2008. So in September of that year, I was laid off, and I really always kind of had that goal of, in the future, maybe one day I can just work for myself, do my very own houses, do everything on my own. But I was always kind of scared to do that. I mean, you have to rely on yourself for that paycheck. It's nice to know your paycheck is coming every week no matter what. And so that was kind of scary. But when I got laid off, it was like, now it's time to see if I can really do this. This is as good a time as any. So that's what started that.
Nice. So, do you really think, like, I think you work really hard. I think you work damn hard. Do you think you got lucky? Was it really luck? Or did you create those possibilities for yourself?
There's a little bit of both in there. I mean, if everybody could fully understand that art program that I was in all
Hmm.
those years, they would know. I mean, and everybody didn't have that. I mean, that was two local teachers who started that, and I mean, it was a nationally known program. They won several awards for it and things like that. But I was very lucky, I think, to be in a place where we had that, because I mean, a lot of kids today, I see them, they have no idea what they want to do. I have no idea
Right.
how I would have found out either if this program didn't sort of fall in my lap. And after that, I mean, yes, I did a lot of work to get here, but I was lucky to get that.
Right. What was your biggest struggle? Like, because we all know, starting your own business is really, really tough. Like you're saying, you want that steady paycheck. You want to know, no matter what, whether you go to work or not, because you have sick time, that you're getting a steady paycheck that's coming in. What was your biggest struggle in actually getting NMF off the ground and going and being able to get clients?
I can't give you a real good answer on this one. I mean, I, the big struggle was having to do it in the first place,
Okay.
because I probably, I don't know, I can't say if I ever would have just jumped ship and done it myself if I wasn't sort of didn't have that kind of little push. And
Hmm.
so I mean, the first week I was nervous, the first few days, and I just started I think, I don't know, it was probably midweek when I was laid off. I rested through the weekend. I got up Monday morning. I said, I'm just going to call every contractor, that I've ever worked with, builder, and tell them that I'm looking for clients. If they have any people coming to them, if they need anything from me, any drawings, I'm available. And by the end of the week, I had a job from one of those contractors, and I have never stopped working since. And
That's
that's been
incredible.
11 and a half years.
Wow.
And it's all been through word of mouth. I mean, I get great clients. Now, the firm I came from was, like I said, well known for high-end residences. So just to be associated with that was
Mhm.
also a great benefit to me. But word of mouth got me projects that just kept getting bigger and bigger, and haven't stopped yet.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you really make light of those things, like, these things, like it takes a certain kind of person because failure is usually people's biggest obstacle. Their biggest, I mean, like I'm terrified of failure. And so when you're making that transition, that's a big her obstacle. It's a big decision to put yourself out there, to set yourself up for, no, I'm not good enough. No, I'm going to be ridiculed. Who wants to hire me? All those things. But yet Monday morning you got up and said, you know what? I'm offering my services. What made you, and I know you're not looking at this like you were bold, but that's bold. What made you so bold and so confident on from Friday to Saturday to Sunday to Monday morning to start making those calls?
Well, I mean, I definitely knew that I was good at what I do. I
Mm,
do know that. I mean, um, the man, the architect that ran that firm I worked for, he kind of did the rough design of the houses, but he just gave us a hand sketch and said, here, now build this house. And we did, the employees did the rest of the project. I mean, I built the house from the ground up, did a great set of plans. We visited the job sites during construction. So, I mean, I'm good at what I'm good at what I do. I knew that. And I'm a motivated person. I mean, like I said, I mean, not that I want to make a ton of money, but a paycheck is motivation. So waking up Monday morning and saying, now I got to make sure I got some income,
right.
coming. That's motivation. And so, but I'm working at home. I've worked at home for these 11 years. I have no problem with it. I'm at this desk at 7 o'clock in the morning. Because I love what I do. And I think because the earlier I discovered how much I loved it helped, and
Right.
I don't get bored with it. I mean, I just love every part of it.
Nice. That's so impressive. So, what would be your biggest advice? Because I mean, all the stars and the ducks line right up for you in high school, going into college to LSU. How about those LSU Tigers, baby?
Finally got
Woo!
another one, got
Yeah,
a
yeah,
championship.
Joe Burrow, baby.
How's it
Um,
going?
yeah. So everything lined up for you. What would be your biggest advice for, I mean, I know it's a different senior year for, the little 18, 17, 18-year olds because they had to finish high school online. But for those who are embarking on this journey, what do you wish your 18-year-old self knew that you know now, that you would love to have a conversation with someone to help them, like maybe get to their destination faster?
Um, One thing that kind of comes to mind is that same art teacher of that talented art program I was in. He was my probably my biggest mentor, my favorite teacher, and he always said, and I still say this now today. I mean, we were kids, we would complain about an assignment or something, and he'd say, and we'd say that's not fair, and he would say life is not fair. And
Mhm.
I think people need to be just you need to be they need to be told that, kids need to be told that, and that you have to make things happen yourself. Things Life is not fair, and you're going to have ups and downs. Things are going to come at you. Things are going to happen differently than how you expect them to or want them to, and you have to be the one, because no one else is going to help you. You have to be the one to want to do better, to want to do what you're doing.
Right.
So you just have to take responsibility for yourself. You don't have to take responsibility for anybody else. You have to take responsibility for
For
yourself at
yourself.
that time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You mentioned that, your parents had expectations. The mentor Lloyd, he kind of instilled, you got to work things out for yourself. How different do you think your life would be today if you had just the opposite? Like if you had parents who were like, girl, just go out there and get you a 9 to 5. You just better just go get a job and you're fine, because that's the example that they set, which is fine, right? And so what if you didn't have Lloyd in your life, who, you just had, I'm from South Louisiana, and I never had anybody in my life that made an exorbitant amount of money. But I remember the example that I learned from my mom was I saw my mom always from week to week rob Peter to pay Paul. And so then I realized as an adult that I am following in her footsteps. I'm more like her today than I ever would admit. How would your life be different if you didn't have those mentors and that motivation from your family? If everybody was like, just like, girl, just go do your thing.
Obviously that's a hard thing to answer because that's not the situation.
Mhm.
Um, but like I said, I mean, I do think I'm a motivated person myself. And I also think, I don't know, I guess I hate to say lucky all the time, but I think people are born differently. Some people are born this way. Some people are born, less motivated or whatever. They just don't have it so much. But I think academically, of course, they promoted going to school and good grades and those kind of things. But I don't know that they had to, because that was kind of in me. Like I was competitive. I was competitive with grades. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to I wanted to be the best. I wasn't, but I was up there. I was close. I was up there with them. And so I think that's something that it comes from in you. I can't say for people that have, I guess, a different type of influence, because I know it happens. I mean, I think, like you said, for you, I mean, if it's what you see, how do you know something different? My
Mm-hmm.
parents didn't make a ton of money, but my dad also did. I mean, he talked about things like saving money from the time I was just got out of college and was starting my first job. He said, save $25 a paycheck, just put that in the bank and start with that.
Right.
And I did that. And that's kind of started, hey, this is how money grows, this is how things work. So I did better than they did, of course, but they struggled. We
Right.
had everything we needed. They did what they had to do and everything. And I know
Mm-hmm.
he saved some money, but it was a
Right.
different time. He didn't do fabulous.
Absolutely. So when you were saying that saving money, so one of the early lessons that I learned, I remember I was in high school and I played high school softball, and I was also in speech and theater. And I think it was my speech class, we were selling M&Ms to raise money. And I watched my mom do this all the time. Again, borrow money, put it back. And so I was selling these M&Ms, and I'm like, I can do just what my mom did. I can borrow this money. So I had, like, there was a $20 bill that was just itching to get spent, right?
I
So
see where this is
you
heading.
can see where this is going. So I spent the $20 and then had no way, because I mean, nobody gave me allowance or anything,
Mm-mm.
had no way to put that back. And so I panicked. And then finally I'm like, okay, I just had to ask my sister for the money, and she gave it to me. But I'm like, what the hell? Now that started me on another spiral, right? Because what my mom loved to do is she loved to go and get a payday loan. Now, how terrible are those things, right? Because the interest rate is out of the ass. I mean, yeah, payday loans. So, we would talk about maybe three things. She would be like, how's your weather? Have you been to the lady? And everybody's fine here. Oh, who's died and you don't know anybody, that kind of thing. And so we had this bond of, oh, you went to the lady this week? The lady is the loan officer. And so, yeah, so it was a nice little joke between the two of us. Be like, Mom, girl, I went to see the lady. Now, I'm paying back at, like, 40 to 50% interest.
Yes.
But that was something that I learned, not to save the money, but to go see the lady. And
Oh,
so, I think that a lot of things are born within you, but I think you also are able to cultivate these things. Like, several different lights went on in my life that I just wanted to do better. Like, I feel like you have created the life based on being an architecture, having a successful business, because I know we've had conversations about how much you really love to travel. And people who love to travel probably don't work at McDonald's. They probably don't, what I'm saying? And so I
right.
feel like you have been more on purpose, more intentional with the life, because I tell you what, everybody says it on Facebook too. Myrna, y'all going on another trip. You guys travel a lot. And I think it's envious, but do you think you have created the life based on your motivation, getting up, being at that desk at 7 o'clock? Because when it's time to travel, you don't really say no.
Hmm.
So how have you been
Yep.
intentional with that?
Absolutely. I think so. Um, and that's just kind of another thing that I got from my dad. I mean, he took us on as many vacations as he could. It was in the country, but we traveled all over the whole country when I was growing up. And he loved history, so he took us to a lot of historical sites. Also, my love of history is huge because of that. We saw museums and things like that. And so I think my love of traveling started with just that. And then, of course, when you get into architecture school, well, not only are you learning about the buildings, but you have art history classes. And I mean, think about how many buildings and things like that started in places like Italy and Greece, and the architecture that is from BC times. And so that a desire to see those things kind of grew in me
Hmm.
with architecture school. So yes, I definitely knew I wanted to travel. And actually, a lot of people tell you, and they'll still tell you, I mean, architects do not make a ton of money. They generally make sort of an average living. um, so but I don't know. I mean, I don't have kids. I don't have to spend a lot of money on other things that some people do.
Hmm.
So I do have more that I can focus on that, which is a good thing for me. um,
Right.
um, but I love to do it. It helps with the job. It keeps you inspired, to do the
Hmm.
things I do. But it's just wonderful. And the first time I went to Italy to see those things, that just made me want to keep on going.
Yeah.
Um, and so that has become more and more and more of a motivation, because now I just want to see every place I can try to see. And
Right.
so that is why I get up and sit at the desk at 7, but I
Nice.
like what I
Nice.
do. I like what I do.
Yeah, nice. So when you guys visited Arizona, one of the things that we did was we went to the Frank Lloyd Wright Museum, and and I remember us making plans. It was like, we're going where? Because I've never been a museum type
You didn't
person,
know
but
who he was either, huh?
I didn't even know who he was. I didn't. Open honesty, I had no idea. So when you think of people like Frank Lloyd Wright, and then traveling to Italy and all these places and seeing all of the types of buildings that just light a fire within you, is there any particular style that you feel like you model your designs like with an influence of, Spanish flair, an influence of there's a little bit of Frank Lloyd Wright? Is there anything that you infuse in your designs?
No, I don't do any of that specifically, because I mean, some architects do that. I mean, you're talking about one of the masters right there. He had a style, and when you see a Frank Lloyd Wright building, he did it basically. And there are a few people like that, but I'm doing homes. So first of all, you have to be willing to do what a client wants, because
Mhm.
they have an important say in the building they're going to live in for the rest of their lives. Often. But what I love actually is that I don't have a style, and I don't have to have a style. I like to do all of them, and I've done
Mhm.
houses in really several different styles. I mean, a lot of people around here in Louisiana do not build modern or contemporary homes, but I had one client come to me that wanted that look. It's a small 2,000 square foot house, but I got to do, that style. And I've done Southwestern, and we have a lot of course, um, mm, I don't even know what to call it, because we just call it Louisiana architecture.
Right.
But we do, obviously, a lot of people still just want that. I've done West Indies.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, it's fun. I get to do them all. And I really don't want to have a specialty, because I want
Right.
you to come to me and say, this is what I want. And I
Okay.
would like to do the more different I can do, the better.
Right. So what is that special nat factor that you put in every design? Because everybody, because like, when like, how will I know if I'm going, that's a nat house right there, baby. That's an NMF.
Well,
What is that? What is that thing that, we all know that that's a nat house, that's that it factor for you?
oh, you won't know that.
No?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, because of that, I think the biggest thing about the net factor is that I work with people more than, even that architect that I worked for before that I was talking about. He specialized in high end homes, but he did this Louisiana style. That's what
Mhm.
he wanted to do. He doesn't want you to really come with something else, because I think he wanted you to be able to look at it and say he did it.
Right.
I don't need that to happen. I want my client to be happy in the home they're in. And like I said, I mean, I love doing the different styles. I love when they come to me and want something different. And that makes the job more fun for me. And I can give them that and make them happy. I mean, that's really one of the biggest things for me. And that's why I'm still working, because this has all been through word of mouth. I mean, I do not really don't advertise, other than now we have social media. So of course
Mhm.
you can't not advertise, because you're on there no matter what.
Right.
But it's nothing I really go out of my way to do. I mean, the clients that come to me have all spoken to someone already who said, you need to hire Natalie, you know?
Right. How has COVID-19, this whole pandemic, how has that changed your business prospecting, maybe the foundation, maybe just how has it changed your data? I know you work from home, your office is at home,
Hmm.
but has it changed, has it affected your business in any way?
It really hasn't. I mean, that's the number one thing, is that I had less face-to-face meetings, you know, and then we were going to have that parade of homes, which is a
Right.
situation where people can walk through several homes and see them. And I'm typically
Mhm.
present during that situation. So if they want to speak to the architect, they can. And that always helps. I mean, it's good to put a face with a name. And when people meet you in person and get to know you, even if it's that little bit, that helps, helps.
Right.
Um, so I had to present a few designs. Had actually done two designs here, two new houses, and I had just met with the client right before all this happened. So when it's time to present to them, I definitely like to sit down with them and walk through the whole house with them, because you want the benefit of explaining everything, why you did everything the way you did it, because they might want one thing and they don't
Right.
always understand why it can't happen the way they want it exactly. So I didn't get to do that, and I asked them if they felt like they wanted to look at the plan without me
Mhm.
doing that. And they both were like, I think I can understand enough, I'm going to do it. And so that's how I did a couple of them. But other than that, my work has continued here because I had enough, to keep me going during all of
Yeah.
this.
Because a lot of people, like people have been hoarding toilet paper, people are hoarding meat, things are, appearing to be scarce, which also, makes a lot of people come from a mindset of scarcity that people aren't spending money. And because you don't work for anyone else where things are guaranteed, have you found that people are spending just as much as they have even before the pandemic? I mean, has there been any type of scarcity that you've come up, with your business?
In my
Hmm.
business, that's a good question, and the answer is really no. Um, because I'm lucky enough, or I've gotten myself. I've worked. Let me go ahead and say it for you. I've worked at it, and I've gotten myself into that niche where the clients I have come to me. They have a pretty good budget. They don't
Hmm.
have. They're not. They're when something like this happens, their money is not all gone. So
Right.
I'm lucky. So I've gotten some great clients. I'm in that realm right there where the people can afford to do it, and that's why they're coming to me, and that's a good thing, because those clients, I feel like they're not going anywhere.
Right, right. And the reason why I keep, when you say lucky, I
Yes.
was
Yeah.
a couple months ago, we were hanging out at a friend's house here in Arizona, and that was the first time we'd ever been to their house. And so I commented, I said, "Oh, you guys have a beautiful home," and she goes, "Oh, we're very blessed." Like it was handed to, her, and I was like, "Well, okay, you might be blessed, but did you not
But
pay for this house?"
somehow, right.
Did this, who's making the mortgage? Is it like just being
Mhm.
thrust upon you? Some mysterious person's taking care of that? Then okay, yeah, you are blessed because that's a miracle, right?
Right.
And
Yep.
so I was like, you made this happen. Not that now I'm a Christian, I'm a praying person, but I'm a firm believer of you get up every morning, you sit at that desk at 7 o'clock, you're making these things happen. Right.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
I think there is synchronicity. I think there's coincidences. I think there's being in the right place at the right time. So
Hmm.
what puts you on the right foot when you get up, like before 7? Like, are you just waking up, you're at a cat 11, like, oh, I'm ready to go, just to get to work. But like, what's your routine that puts you in a proper mindset that gets you, this is going to be a productive, outcome driven day? What puts you in that state?
um I no, I mean, I don't wake up all out and not going that fast. Never, never. But I know that I like the mornings. I used to be a night person when I was younger, and I have done a complete flip. I love the mornings. I love to get up. I just work best when I'm in here I have a cup of coffee. It's still quiet, nothing's going on. And I like that. And Monday mornings are fine because I love weekends. I love my own time. I love to do my relaxing and those kind of things.
Mhm.
But I like working and I like what I do. So I really look forward to starting a new week. And I look forward to, especially if I have a new project to start. I mean, I just love the beginning design phase of project,
Right.
I like it all, but so I like that. And then the weekend, of course, you get to do a little more activity. So,
Mhm.
although I do keep up with that. I mean, I do ride bikes and things like that, play tennis. So you do all those things, your mind is cleared a little bit more. And then,
Right.
starting over I like it. I
Perfect.
like it.
Perfect.
I like a new work week.
Yeah. Is it important for you to surround yourself with a certain type of people? Like, the reason why I'm asking that is I believe that you become a product of the people that you spend the most time with, right? And so, there's a quote that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Is it important and is it intentional for you to sort of up level that and to make sure you are surrounding yourself with people that inspire you, motivate you, you know, support you, love you, you know?
People disappoint you a lot, so you have to surround yourself with the right people, and that does keep you going. That definitely keeps me going. I mean, you have to be with positive people, especially if you're a positive person,
Right.
which for the most part I am. This COVID situation
It's
is taking
testing
its
you, huh?
toll every now and then. I mean, I can only look at my backyard so long. I was
Right.
supposed to be. In fact, what's today? The 13th. I'm supposed to be in Switzerland right now.
Wow.
Um,
That's what I'm talking
so
about.
I was going to be Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, which we had to cancel, obviously. So I would be coming back this Saturday from another European trip. So that
Right.
but yeah, surrounding yourself with the right people who you have fun with, because when you're with those people, when you're not working, you want to have fun and not be thinking about work. Hopefully, I mean, that's
Right.
what makes it's a good job, and that you like it, that you don't have to worry about it or think about it all the time.
Absolutely. Perfect.
Hmm.
So we've talked about, so it seems like everything has just sort of happened perfectly for you. Even that getting laid off happened perfectly because without that, you wouldn't have your own business right now. So everything in your life, I feel like that we've discussed is happening for you,
Hmm.
and so in your favor. So Nat, I feel like everything has been laid out in your life. You use the term lucky for a while, but you are the creator, you are the illustrator, you are the designer of the life that you've created for yourself. And I feel like all your little ducks have been lined up, all the stars have aligned, but there must have been a time or two in your life where you felt like, I don't know what tomorrow's going to be like, where it tested your character, it tested, do I have grit? Am I going to make it? What is something that's really absolutely tested you in a way that you never ever thought would happen?
Well, I guess one scary incident was actually going to work one morning and being attacked, which sounds crazy. I know, I know. But literally, I did. I mean, our office building, when I was employed by the architecture firm, we were a small company though, and had a little bitty office and kind of in an area of town that, a lot of people thought was a little shady. And so anyway, we had one of those hotels, one of those hourly hotel situations. Anyway, it just wasn't a great spot, but it never bothered anybody. And I walk into work one morning, and I thought I kind of heard a noise, and I go peeking around the corner, which is probably not what you should do. and I
You
was
should hide.
just, I was exactly, but okay, we were literally like in a tunnel. There was one door, one way in, one way out. So, I mean, you're stuck in there. Um, anyway, I just poked my head around the corner and was hit over the head with a crowbar.
Holy
with a,
shit.
I can laugh now because it's been a long time. That was in 2004. And this guy just hit me over the head and hit me again. And I fell down and I was bleeding. He thought I was the only person in that office because there was the
Mhm.
one door. He saw me go in, and that's all that happened. But actually, another employee was in there. he chased the guy off. They ran out of the building. I was actually laying on the floor bleeding from my head. I thought I was bleeding to death. So I was terrified. I really was. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's
Right.
happening at that moment. And in fact, I stayed conscious somehow because I was hit twice with a metal bar. and it felt like a lot of blood. And anyway, my friend ended up walking in. Actually, another employee showed up. This was 7:00 in the morning. This was work starting. And so another employee walked in the building and saw me there. Like, he called 911, and all that happened. I went to the hospital and everything. I was very lucky. Again, very lucky. Because
that's probably lucky.
now, this is a time where what would have happened if, who knows what would have happened, I mean, we didn't, for some reason, lock the door behind us. It was a business, you still had the door open for, clients or something that might come in. But anyway, after that incident, the door was locked every time. I was scared for a while. My boss, he let me stay home for about 2 weeks. He's like, just come back when you're ready. It was kind of, first of all, you can never imagine something like that happening to yourself. And so, it does kind of make you just think about a lot of things,
right.
And going back there was scary, at first. And like I said, new things were implemented. There was a buzzer put on the door was locked at all times. I mean, there was a lot more looking around, and, I learned a lot of things from that for myself about being more aware.
Right.
I mean, you just think everything's fine.
Right.
And you have to now,
Right. Especially, yeah. Wow. So definitely big lessons that you learned from that. What do you think are your best gifts? Like, what are your strengths? Like, what makes you the person, and as good as you are, what do you think makes you so good?
I think one thing is that I kind of like, I like people. And so I kind of like communicating with them. And I have, as shy as I was when I was a kid, which I was quiet and shy, like, I don't know if you'd ever know it, but I really was. I really, really was. And now, like people always tell me, even if I don't know if I have a job yet, or I don't know if someone's going to want to hire me, people say, go meet with them, hurry and go meet with them, because they're going to love you just because of your personality. And so I really do think a lot of times that wins people over. I'm willing to work with them on whatever they want to do. I'm more about what my client wants, not about what I want. And there are architects out there. It's a man-dominated profession. A lot of them have these egos where, they want to do what they want to do. They don't even listen to the client as much. And so, and that has gotten me a long way, actually. I think I do a lot of things more practical than a male architect might do them, and just things like that. I have a lot of, I work with a lot of the wives more so than the husbands over here, because the women are the ones who get, in a house, get to put what they get to put what they want in the house. So I think my personality, they really like working with me.
So because it's so male dominated, do you think it fuels your fire even more to sort of like excel?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Don't you hesitate. Yeah.
Always. I mean, when you walk into like a continuing ed seminar and you're one of like 2 women in there,
right.
and I'm not talking about small seminars. Sometimes it's amazing. And yeah, so you want to be, you want to find a way to stand out, because I want people to see, which has always been in the case. We want people to see that we can do the same thing. We can do better.
What keeps you on top of your game? Like, do you do any type of, seminars, personal development? How do you keep growing?
We definitely have to do those things. We have to do continuing education classes and credits. We need so many every year just to keep our license. And then the traveling, and that's another thing. I mean, I love it. I love to do it for, just vacation, personal reasons, but it's a great way to just stay, I see things every time I go to a new place. I look at buildings more than anybody should when they're on a vacation, and everybody,
there's a lot.
And there's a lot. And so, everybody's like, she's back there looking at the building still, or whatever, I'm holding everybody up because I'm looking at things. Everybody's like, why? We're just having fun. but it keeps me inspired, you know.
Right.
I see things every time I come back, and I want to implement just new things and try things I saw, you know. So it's fun.
Absolutely.
That keeps it going.
What is, like, whenever I think, like, someone I read one day, I was doing some personal development, and they were like, write down what are your 10 biggest accomplishments. And I remember I did that exercise, and I could only come up with like 6 or 7, which were things like, oh, I graduated from college. I did such, these things. And then it just made me take a breath and go, I haven't done enough. One of my proudest moments now is transitioning from teaching and starting my own life coaching business, which I'm so incredibly excited about that. And I've never felt more alive in my entire life. What has been your proudest moment in your job, in your life, in all of your years of walking this earth?
The relationship that I'm able to develop with clients, really, I'm proud of that. That keeps me, that keeps me in business. That keeps my business going. And that is what keeps the word of mouth spreading. That, I mean, people do give my name to everybody they can. And I'm proud to have created that. And it takes, it's like you said, it does take work to create that. It takes work, and it takes the right communication with the people. And I don't think I have great communication skills by any means, but when I get with people in a small setting, like one-on-one or two at a meeting, at a client meeting,
right,
I don't want to give a seminar,
right.
When I have that little meeting with my clients, I mean, I just think, we get along great. Everything, I'm able to make them understand what they need to understand for me to convey designs and things like that. And it just works out good. And that makes me happy that I've been able to do that, because like I said, as a quiet, shy person, it's hard to get over that to begin with, which I had to do in school. I mean, in school, they make you do, present all of your projects in front of a panel of architects and teachers. And that's scary.
Right. No,
that's another big thing I had to get over.
Yeah. See, I always wanted that. Like, I remember when I was in high school, I like when people are like, oh, take this, this biology exam. I was like, can I deliver a speech on it? Can I act it out? I wanted to do those things because I just didn't get that whole written test thing. I wanted to memorize something and perform it. So that's
I'm 100% opposite of you.
Opposite, yeah.
I would like to 100% take all those answers, and I can write you the best paper, whatever you need.
And Nat, I can attest to your presence. Like when people are in your presence, like, why you get so many good recommendations. I remember the first time that I met you. I'm so thankful and so blessed that we're friends. And I just remember thinking, oh my goodness, she's really, really authentic. Like I felt, sometimes you can meet people and people seem like they'd rather be somewhere else. They have a lot of things going on. You're not really authentically connecting. But I felt that connection from you like instantly. And something that that's always bothered me with friends is most of the time I've always thought that I put forth more effort, to maintain the friendship and the relationship more than the other people do. And I never, ever feel that with you. And I feel like it's 50-50. It's reciprocal. It's like we love, love, love. I love hanging out with you. You just everybody. And I feel that, it's reciprocated. And so I just love that about you because it's your genuine authenticity that draws people to you like a magnet. It really is. And like, I know that I feel inspired and motivated in your presence. I've never, ever felt less than. I've never, ever felt like ridiculed or criticized. I've always felt completely supported. And I appreciate that in you and your friendship. And so thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that too. But that's because I feel the same way about you. You meet people, you have a connection. And when that connection is just there, you're one of those people I want to surround myself with.
That's right. Till we die, baby. Till we die. There you go.
Absolutely.
Okay. So just 2 more questions. So I want to know, like, again, as I continue to reiterate your level of success that you've achieved, because you have been the manifester of this. But what's your next level? What's your impossible dream? What is something that you think before I die, which will be 100, I want to do something so big and so bold that seems completely impossible today? If you were to dream and wave a wand, what is that impossible dream or goal that you have for yourself in your life?
Impossible?
Yeah, it seems impossible today.
I don't know if I'm good at that. I'm not, I never, some people have those huge, huge dreams. I mean, I want to go to Hollywood and be the actor or whatever. And I wanted to have this. I wanted to have a comfortable, good place to live and stay. What would be some great impossible thing that may stay impossible because I'd have to do a lot more to get to it, is to design some really, really fabulous house like in California for a celebrity, because those people have the money that you could really do anything. I mean, not everybody has that. So to be able to design a house like that, I mean,
Right.
I'd have to move. I'd have to go to another location.
Right. Which celebrity would really bring you joy to design their house?
Ellen.
Ellen and Portia de Rossi.
I think me and Ellen would get along like this.
I bet you would. I bet we need to do it.
She'll see me after all these years. Everybody wants Ellen to see me because I look like her.
Well, yeah, there is a resemblance. And, Ellen's from Louisiana. So when she gets ready to move back or to build that whatever number house it is, she can have NMF.
Oh, no. Now, if she wants to come here and somewhere around the area, South Florida, I can even do an awesome house in Florida for her.
In Louisiana or Florida, you will travel too.
Mm-hmm. I think it'll be me. I think I'll do it.
Nice, nice. So if people wanted to work with you, how can they, like, you're licensed in Louisiana and so you're licensed in Florida. So is it only just those two states that, people have to reside in one of those two states to work with you?
No, not necessarily. Actually, in residential architecture, a lot of states don't require a licensed architect to design the house. Now, the nicer house you want an architect, because you want somebody who knows more of the intricacies of building a building. But you don't need a licensed architect necessarily, and you don't need it for every building. Every commercial building you do, it has to be a certain size. So there are even buildings of a small enough size that, I could do without actually getting a license. But it doesn't really require very much for me to get a license. I qualify basically because of what I have already done, the test I've taken to be licensed in any state. Right now, I simply just have to fill out the paperwork and get the license,
Right.
So,
and if somebody in New York City, they see this podcast and they're like, I'm going to throw up a couple of your designs. And as a matter of fact, we, walk into the kitchen that you designed for our home, which we absolutely love. I was watching the Property Brothers. They were doing an interview and they're like, oh, they have a 9-foot island. I was like, we got an 8-foot island, baby. Designed by NMF. Yep. That's what I'm talking about. So
you like that kitchen. It's great, huh?
Oh my goodness, love it.
Big improvement.
Big improvement.
Just love the space.
Yes, absolutely. Opened it up, and just your touch in there made it what it is today. And so, if we had that Ellen type money and we were building from ground up, you would be our girl. So could someone like in New York, Connecticut, Michigan, could someone find this podcast, see your designs, look you up, and inquire to work with you? Could they make that happen?
Oh yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Okay. So I think virtually.
Yep. Okay. Oh, definitely. I could do it virtually. I've kind of learned that during this COVID situation. I've only done a couple so far, but and hopefully things are getting back on track. But obviously it wasn't a problem for these clients. I think it could definitely work,
Right. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how could they get in touch with you? Where can they find your information, more stuff about you to solidify that decision?
Well, right now, I think everything can be found on my website, NMF Architecture. Do I need to spell that out?
N as in Nancy, M as in Mary, and F as in Fraychineaud or Frank.
Right. Mostly I use Frank because people people know that one.
Right.
nmfarchitecture.com, and that'll have all my information on it, my email address, I think a phone number, and all those things.
Okay.
And shows a good bit of my work, good bit of
Yes.
diversity. I have several different projects, different styles.
Nice. Well, Nat, thank you so much. I am taking the last sip of my beer.
Me too.
There we go. Look at that timing. Perfect.
Done. Cheers.
Done. Cheers. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for hanging out with us today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to know more about what I'm up to, head over to traviastewart.com. If you like seeing the videos of the podcast, every episode is on my YouTube channel. And if you like what you hear, please do me a favor and subscribe to the show. And remember, life is about connecting authentically, living with purpose, and having no regrets.